Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is Thursday morning, May 27, 2021. Got a bunch of earnings we're going to discuss today and whether or not you should buy those stocks into earnings or wait for earnings to come out. It's actually a big question that we have. We're actually going to start the show off today talking about SalesForce.com and their earnings. It's been in a downtrend for a while. Order flow has been bearish for a while, especially since the discussion about the acquisition of Slack. Should you buy Salesforce while it's on the way down, or should you wait for that stock to bounce? Stick around. We'll be right back. Oh, actually, as well, we got something really interesting about Apple today that you're going to want to hear about, and an EV stock, electric vehicle stock that's been beaten up, and I started buying it yesterday. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we're actually going to start out with Salesforce. We're going to get right into it because that's obviously what you clicked on. That's why you're here. The stock has been beaten up. The earnings have been kind of like average, but they're the leader by far at what they do. The revenue is supposed to go up. Actually, you know what? Let's go right over to that. Let's take a look first. Let's actually share the chart. We're going to go right over and go right into the news. So we're going to hop right on over, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. So the biggest thing to discuss here with Salesforce is the Slack deal what's been holding it down, or is there something else going on with the company that we should know about? So this is really the biggest thing that we need to pay attention to. 19% profit growth to 83 cents per share adjusted. 19%, not really awesome. Obviously, you'd like to see something at least 25, 40%. However, a larger company like this, something that is a market leader, you tend to get what's available. In other words, they're already at the top. Where else are they going to go unless something different happens, which is this. Slack is something I've used for a long time. Slack and Discord, two of the most popular ones. So what's going on with the stock? At this point, with all of this put in, a expected mediocre EPS growth to 83 cents. That's okay, right? But let's take a look at the chart. Here's the last earnings report. Stock has gone down. Here's the last earnings report. Stock has done nothing pretty much. Here's the last earnings report. Stock did nothing, had a rally, and sold off into earnings again. So both times the stock sold off into earnings. But the last two quarters, I kind of feel that it's absorbed now the big part of the Slack acquisition. So you can see here it bottomed out, and now actually bottomed out at a higher level into what is now perceived as the place that sellers are constantly pushing the stock down. So this is a big deal. This is actually something that every trader needs to really learn is support and resistance levels can be subjective. There's really no other way to put it. You draw it someplace, I draw it someplace. Everybody has a spot that they put it. But really it comes down to this. Where is the last place that buyers or sellers did something significant? Just leave it that simple. Simplify everything you do when you're looking to buy a stock, and it makes it a lot easier to make a decision with confidence. So how does that relate to buying Salesforce stock? 2 times, and now a 3rd time, buyers stepped in at the same price and held it. And now we're actually rallying into earnings right at a spot where sellers have done something significant. I think this time Salesforce is actually going to find buyers. I think that the Slack deal is now absorbed. It's been about 3 earnings reports now since that deal and the announcement came out. I think this time they're finally going to find their footing. I think that although the EPS growth is not spectacular, I think that's more because from an entrepreneurial perspective, a business perspective, they're still trying to figure out how that's going to work within their ecosystem. That's why I think, and we'll actually go back to the chart right now, and this is my trading. I think that it's finally going to break this bearish order flow downtrend. I think it's finally going to get above here. Now, the obvious question is, where is it going from here? Just doing a simple calculation of where it should go, it should end up around 245, 250 if it takes off and finally gets above this level. I actually think it's going to head up towards the 270 level. That's where I'm looking for my next move. Now, again, as with everything that we talk about here, this is trading. This is not chart reading. There's a big difference. And I really want you to know how much I appreciate you with me every day, because you're probably watching this because you want to know the difference between, I understand all the chart patterns, but how do I actually pull money from the market? How do I make the stock market make me money? And that's the difference between chart reading and tape reading. So what we're doing here, and I talk about this all the time, If this happens, then I'm doing this. If this happens, then I'm doing this. That's different from I see a bull flag and I think it's definitely going up. Traders build arguments for ideas, and if it works out, great. Then you learn how to manage the winning trades. If the trade signal gives you a fill and it doesn't work out, you act like a pro, you act like a trading professional, you simply reduce risk, scale out or get out, and then you go to your next idea. In this particular instance here with SalesForce, my idea, my argument, as I just laid out, is it needs to get above 230 to make its run towards 270. Now, I think it can get to 270 over the next 30 to 45 days. It's just a question of, can the buyers prove where they held it, where they held it higher? Can they prove at this point that they have a better argument than everybody who's disagreeing with the SalesForce acquisition of Slack? Because this is actually what's going on prior to that, right? So in this particular instance, as of May 2021, I think Slack is going to find, SalesForce CRM stock is finally going to find its buyers and then take off through that level. One other stock that I want to talk about today is, I promised something about Apple too. That's pretty interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. But Costco has earnings today as well, scheduled earnings. So let's take a look at Costco. And you can see here Costco, you can see actually how hard I've been working the charts. This is a big level Costco is actually sitting at right now. The market and the futures are actually opening up lower right now. And this is a really, really good example. And I talk about this every day in our bootcamp game plan meetings, which we have every single morning. They're for day trading and for swing trading. It's really kind of an advanced program. If you're interested, click the link below the video, at least learn what's in there. It's 30 days, no obligation after the 30 days. If you love it, we'll work together past that 30 days. But the point that I want to make here on Costco, and this is a very important one. Remember I just said that support and resistance, just look to see where sellers are doing something significant. I have to sneeze. You can tell these are live. Oh, it's coming. I know it's coming. So it goes up to a price, it gets shoved back. It goes up to a price, it goes shoved back. I get asked this all the time. So if it's up here and your stock is trading down here, and I make the comment that I like it above that level all the time, and I understand where the question comes from. It comes from the fact that, well, if you like it above that level, why don't you buy it now before it gets through that level so you have a better entry? And the answer is sellers are in control of that stock. Why would you want to fight where somebody with really deep pockets is saying, no, why would I bother? Why would I tie up capital? And this is something that's really not discussed enough. This is stuff you won't find in a trading book, okay? Unless maybe we write one. There's a certain amount of capital that we have, and we have to tie that money up. We have to put it down on something, and we have to say, the reason I'm taking this argument, the reason I'm accepting this risk is because I think that if I accept this risk within a reasonable period of time, the return on that capital I'm tying up is going to be well worth the risk that I'm accepting on this trade. So if I buy that stock, I think it's going up. That's the simpler way to put it. But why would I tie up capital, especially in a $300 stock, that sellers, deep pockets, somebody with a lot of money, it gets up there, they're selling it. It gets up there, they're selling. Why would I want to fight that? I'd rather get involved when they say, I'm done, set an alert up at that level. And then if and when it gets through there, I'll be like, okay, now we have clear sailing. That's how trading is separate from chart reading. It's not just, oh, look, there's resistance. No, you go deeper. That's why we talk about order flow. And that's why you hear me say bearish order flow, bullish order flow, as opposed to saying uptrend and downtrend. You need to visualize that there's real orders pushing that stock around. That's what the order flow is. Big money putting orders. That's the order flow. The flow of orders, the flow of orders, the flow of orders. And how significant is that flow of orders? That's what order flow means. So if we look at Costco, we head back over to that chart. Selling. Got above there, shoved it back down. Got above there, shoved it back down. Got above there, couldn't even get there and shut. And that started a new downtrend. And again, same level. Nope. Maybe ahead of earnings, right? Maybe now it's a little bit different. We actually paused here. So really, what are we looking for here? This is how to set up the if-then scenarios. We're looking for an energy candlestick through this level that sellers have shoved it back down. So what does that mean? Again, keeping it simple, right? Energy candlestick means it opened down here, closed up here. So we're looking for a large green candlestick with volume. So energy candlestick is just that. Energy candlestick with volume is known as fuel. It's a fuel candlestick. So if you can imagine, it's all gassed up now, fuel ready to go, and it bursts out from that area that it couldn't get through in the first place. So that's what we're looking for after Costco earnings comes out, whether it happens today after hours, but more specifically tomorrow after the announcement. We're looking for it to close near the highs. We're looking for increased volume. And I get this question all the time. What kind of volume am I looking for to make something in an energy candlestick? Generally speaking, the highest volume over the last 10 days with closing near the high and closing above that level. So that's what we're looking at to look to buy Costco stock after earnings. So I want to go back over and I want to talk about a beaten up stock that has been a Kathy Wood conversation for a while now. And then we're going to talk about the Apple news. So we're actually going to head on over here to Workhorse. And if you remember what I just mentioned about volume, Workhorse, you can see, has been beaten up pretty good. There was a lot of conversations over here about getting this big contract that didn't unfold. But now you start to pay attention to the clues. And you can see over here, it got shoved down, volume increased, and it went sideways. And now here's yesterday. Yesterday, volume well over the average and approaching the highs. Now, it's the start of a new move. Now, if you follow the channel, you'll know that this is a 1, 2, 3 bottom forming, which means that we need to get above and stay above, let's say 950. It got near there yesterday, pulled back a bit. It's right around $9 right now. So Workhorse, I'm looking to start building a position above 950, looking for it to approach 13. If it gets to 13 on good volume, and remember, I want to be very clear about what this means. When we talk about good volume and we talk about what we need to see, right? We're letting the charts, we're letting the smart money tell us what we need to look for. We need to see well-bid candles with volume on the way up. So volume increasing with well-bid candlesticks. And again, if you happen to be new to the channel, I'm going to show you like I showed my wife the other day. And she's learning, by the way. She's becoming a good, she's learning all the trading lingo, listening to these videos every day, whether she wants to or not. So if you can imagine, this is one candle on a daily chart. I guess you can see it better over here. And then you get the next candlestick. So this candlestick makes a higher high and a higher low. So as we start to go higher, we want to see a higher volume and closes near the high. So energy candlesticks that are also well bid. I want to pause that because it's important, with higher volume. Then when we get up to that $13 level, we want to see pause. We actually want to see the opposite of that, which is a melted candle. So we want to see higher volume up to $13, assuming we break over 950. And then we get up to 13, we want to pause on light volume. And then the next move through that is all the way up. And I say all the way up here, we're looking at around 18 and change. So I don't like to forecast, predict, go too far out when I'm looking to buy a stock. I look at the most recent price action. That's how I've laid it out right now for Workhorse. It's got to get above 950 though. So remember, 950 is the level. That's again, if it gets there, then I'm doing this. If it gets there, then I'm doing this. That's how you have to start thinking if you really want to be in control. That's the biggest thing. Professional traders, and I actually commented on this about one of the members in our community yesterday. His name is Reyes. Sees the trade, he puts it on. He sees the trade, he puts it on. He sees the trade, he puts it on. That's what it means to be a real trader, because that's putting you in control. You're not hesitating. You know exactly what you're going to do. Here's an interesting fact, too. A lot of traders think that the market is mysterious and they need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. That is so untrue. You need to know what's probably going to happen next, which is the probabilities. You need to know what's probably going to happen next, but what you are definitely going to do. It's that second part. Once you trust yourself to always do what you said you were going to do, trust yourself to always do what you planned to do, what you scripted, that's where trading becomes magical. That's where trading becomes fun, because you are 100% in control of the outcome right now, not the random ticks of the market. You might want to pause that and go back to that. What's probably going to happen and what you definitely plan to do. That's where trading becomes in your hands. No longer anybody else's. There's no guessing. All you need is an edge. And obviously our edge is order flow, right? So we're going to talk about another stock right now, which is super interesting. And Apple. We promised we're going to talk about Apple and Apple stock. Looking for someone with crypto experience, as reported in an article on CoinDesk. So number one, that's pretty darn interesting. Number two, with all of the volatility in crypto stocks, and we've been specifically trading Mara and Riot off of the crypto stocks as crypto stocks. More and more legitimacy. Just straight up, I've never traded crypto or Bitcoin itself, but I am actively trading the crypto stocks off the crypto volatility. Crypto is still not as regulated as an old school stock trader like myself would like it to be. However, it's not going anywhere. Elon Musk, the tweets, all of that other back and forth stuff, it's not going anywhere. Everybody is starting to legitimize it. This is now the time where you might want to start to take a look and maybe do a little bit more research into mining stocks like Mara and Bitcoin, Mara and Riot that we watch every day, and see if it's time to start dipping your toes in and getting a little bit more interested. When Apple is starting to look for somebody to help them with alternative payments, there's more going on. There's more going on behind the scenes, and it's definitely something you want to start to pay attention to. So other earnings that we have coming out today, HPQ, Gap, coming out today, Autodesk, and Dell. So rewind the tape, watch that one that we just talked about, Workhorse. I think one of the most interesting parts of what we just discussed was the 1, 2, 3 bottom. You have a bottom, it rallies off that bottom, pulls back, doesn't touch that bottom, and then takes off again. It's a really clean way of analyzing the market and seeing when a stock has a high. We usually use that on 52-week highs and lows, but you could use it on any time frame as long as it's definitive. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. If it's your first time to the channel, definitely click down and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that this is the kind of content that you enjoy. We're actually going to be expanding this to different types of shows on the channel too, so look forward to that. And definitely leave a comment because, as you see, we answer everybody as much as we can as far as within the right, excuse me, within 24 hours usually. If not, just be patient. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. But subscribe and click the alert button because I really want to help. And the only way for me to help you, the only way for me to give you the experience that I've had over the last 21 years is for you to participate and be notified when new videos come up. So have an awesome day, everybody. Be awesome today. And I don't know about you. I can't wait to trade today, but I also can't wait for a 3-day weekend. So have an awesome day, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon.